It's too late. You're too late. Should have started 10 years ago, 5 years ago, a year ago, even. Anything's better than today. I mean, it's just today's too late. How are you ever going to get caught up? How are you ever going to learn all there is to learn? I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say this in the industry, and it makes me so mad because it seems obvious, right? It doesn't matter how old you are. Your age doesn't matter as much as your will, your determination. Those things matter. Your mindset, your attitude, those are the things that matter, not how many years you've been alive. You know, I realize that it's really easy to get FOMO working in this industry. You know, things move so quick, just bang, 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 bang. Every day there's a new library coming out or some new tool, some new technology coming out. And it's easy to think to yourself, well, I don't even know what's out there now. How am I ever going to keep up with this snowball of information? And the answer is, honestly, you're not. There's no way you could ever learn all this stuff. You can't learn everything. You can't know everything. But that's okay, because it's kind of like if you wanted to go into the medical field and you wanted to be an optometrist, right? You wouldn't spend your time learning like how feet work. You leave that to the podiatrist. Podiatrist, is that the right? Podiatric doctors, whatever. You leave it to them, right? Because they're going to specialize in that. And it's the same thing in technology and learning to code. You figure out what it is that you want to do. You figure out the things that you're good at or you like, or the things that you want to accomplish in your life. And then learn your basics. Everybody's got to learn the foundation, right? And then go on and specialize in the things that you want to do. I was talking to a guy actually in the comments of one of my videos, and he was saying how he had just turned 30 and he was very overwhelmed with all the information that was out there. And he just kind of didn't know where to start. And I'll share my story in a minute. I had a very similar experience as this. So, but he didn't know where to start. And so he was kind of just overwhelmed about everything that was out there. And I told him basically the same thing someone told me. Start with your foundation, learn the fundamentals, and then through that process, you're gonna figure out the things that really like get you up in the morning, right? You're gonna figure out if you want to be a web developer. Okay, now you decided you want to be a web developer. Do I want to do front end or back end or both? You know, those are things that you're gonna learn just through doing it. Like me, when I first started out, I thought I just wanted to be front end developer specifically. I was like, I don't want to touch the back end. It seems boring. Like it's just, yeah. But after I started doing it, I actually learned how to build a server with Node. I realized like, this is awesome. And I actually like doing back end stuff more than front end now. So, I mean, I guess if you're wondering like, where I should start, how do I get these fundamentals and all that stuff? Well, I might make a future video about that. That's not really the point of this video. The point of this video is to encourage you that no matter what age you are, if you want to do this, then go do it. So I'll basically tell my story without going into all details. But I had not started. I'd never touched code. Not written one line of code in my entire life up until I was 29 years old. I had done construction. I had done cooking. I cooked in a kitchen for 8 years. Well, not one kitchen, but a bunch of different kitchens. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life, and I was just kind of working just to make money. At one point, I wanted to be a chef, but that fell through. I decided I didn't want to do that, so I did construction, and then I started doing some little freelance graphic design work, and I flipped stuff on eBay, resold like broken phones on eBay and stuff. So I did a lot of different things trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And just kind of by chance, I came across, actually when I was doing graphic design work, came across opportunities where I wanted to learn how. So I was building websites in Squarespace, and you don't have to know how to code to build in Squarespace. If you've ever built one, you know what I'm talking about. So through doing that, I was like, okay, this is not positioned exactly the way I wanted. This is not the exact color I wanted, or I want to change this font here, but I don't want to change it across the whole website. Through doing that, I started playing around with some CSS, a little HTML and CSS, and I just kind of fell in love with it. It gave me this sense of empowerment, and that sounds a little strange. Maybe you understand what I'm talking about, but there's a sense of empowerment that comes with being able to have an idea and make it a reality. So that was one of the things that really pulled me into learning to code. But anyway, I digress. So I told myself I'm just going to focus on HTML and CSS. I'm not going to go off the rails here, because I could see there's just so much out there. There's vast amount of knowledge out there. And I knew that if I just dove into it and started trying to learn everything, I would just I would burn myself out and just overwhelm myself, and I would end up quitting. So I said, I'm going to learn HTML and CSS, and I'm going to get awesome at that. And I did that for about 8 months. And after 8 months of just doing HTML and CSS, you're pretty much there. You pretty much know, if not everything there is to know, like 99% of what there is to know with HTML and CSS. And I'm talking about vanilla. So then I said, okay, now it's time for me to actually start programming, learn a programming language. Obviously, the logical next step is learn JavaScript, right? Because I wanted to do web development. I knew at that point I wanted to do web development. So JavaScript, the language of the web, learning JavaScript. I started learning a little bit, and I was fumbling through it, and it was so difficult for me. And I really battled with this mentally of like, I'm too old. And I was 29, mind you. I was like, I'm too old. I can't do this. There are 16-year-olds that can code circles around me, and still are. I don't remember who said it, but someone said, if you think, I used to do weightlifting, not professionally. I just went to the gym and lifted weights. Okay. So I used to lift weights, and there is this quote that I don't remember who said it, but it was like, if you think that you're strong, there's some 16-year-old girl in China who's beaten your 1 rep max, who warms up with your 1 rep max. And that's true. There's always going to be some kid who's just going to destroy you, right? In anything. It was like that in skateboarding, guitar, like everything I've ever done. So you have to just be like, okay, whatever. That's not me. I'm me. I'm where I am. And anyway, let me get back to the story. I'm going off on tangents here. So I realized like how much I was struggling through this, and that was what eventually led me to actually join Lambda, because I realized, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to need help. And the fact they had the ISA and I didn't have to pay anything up front, that was perfect for me because I was honestly broke. And now fast forward 2 years, and well, about 2.5 years now. And I just came up to my 1 year mark at my first job at 31 years old, and starting a new career, at age 30. So it's, like I said before, it's not about how old you are. It's about your mindset. It's about your attitude, your drive. Like, how much do you want it? How much do you want to do it? Because you're going to struggle. Coding is hard. I don't want to undersell it. It is hard, but it's so worth it, and it opens up so many opportunities for you. It can change the trajectory of your life like it did for me. So I always recommend it, and I always encourage people, hey, if you want to do it, go do it. At least go try. There's no shame in giving something up after if you put everything into it and you're not seeing a return, then maybe it's time to move on and try something else. but at least you can say you tried and you gave it your all. So I always encourage people, if you want to do it, give it a shot, go for it. There's something else I want to address. I've heard so many people say, oh, we're moving into a post-code world. There's so much no-code and low-code software out there that actually being a developer and writing code is useless and becoming obsolete. I tend to disagree with that. And that's for a couple of reasons. So again, I come back to Squarespace. And when you think about Squarespace, that is a no-code solution for a website, right? Or low code if you add any custom code. But you can go in there and not write one single line of code and put out a full website. The problem is your website now looks like a Squarespace site, right? And if you've ever designed or developed on Squarespace, you can pretty much pick out Squarespace sites. It was the same thing with Bootstrap back in the day. And even now, our company still uses Bootstrap. And you can always tell a Bootstrap site that's kind of not really related because you do have to write Bootstrap. I guess it's kind of moving towards that because you don't actually write your own CSS, right? Anyways, so if you want to stand out and if you want to, it's kind of the difference between having a kind of cookie cutter templated website, and if that works for you, that's fine, or having this kind of this custom made to order special site that you can it can really become, a piece of art for you. That's kind of the way I think about it. But I like I said, I do come from a graphic design background, but I really look at it that way. So if you want to stand out and you want to have something unique, then you have to know how to code. And the second big reason why I disagree with this sentiment is, even if you do the majority of your things using a no-code or low-code solution, which actually we do when you think about it, most of the things we use on our computer don't require us to write code. Someone's got to write the software for these no-code, low-code platforms. So Squarespace has a team of developers, and I'm giving Squarespace a lot of airtime right now, but I say that because before I actually knew what I was doing, that's what I built my websites in when I was kind of freelancing. But they have this team of developers that writes all of that source code, right? And so there's always going to be companies that are going to need that. And, they even have these programs where you can actually export your code, so you can design a website. I think Webflow does that. You can design a site and then you can export the code and then, upload that to GitHub or whatever and use that. Even then, you still have to maintain the code. So I think it's just obvious that you need to at least learn the basics, Maybe we do move into a place in the future where most things have been written, and so you don't have to actually write a bunch of things. And maybe that is. I mean, when you think about how many libraries and packages and things are there, we're just kind of like building on top of each other. But I don't know. I think there's always going to be use for it. Because, when they invented the nail gun, they didn't say that, okay, this is the end of the hammer. No one's ever going to use a hammer again. So I always recommend it. And I'm just going to say this again. If you want to do it, go for it. Go try it. And let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think that once you get to a certain age that you stop being able to learn new things? Or do you think that you can always continue learning? Do you think that your ability to learn new things diminishes over time? I think it does. And there's probably some good science to support that. But that doesn't mean that you have to stop. That just means you have to try harder. But anyways, again, I'm going to remind you, we have a Discord channel. I got the link in the description, so you can come join in on the conversation. So we're talking about things like this. If you need help with your code, if you want to talk about your resume, things like that, come join in on the Discord server. And of course, like this video, subscribe if you found this content useful to you. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So if you like this video, please consider subscribing and help me get to that mark. I really appreciate it. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.